Wonderful!
And most of them are recycled.
Well, that's great! Congratulations to the recycled thoughts, but what actually gets done?
Oh my.
Ruslan.
This is Caleb Hammer. He's like the modern Gary Vee, which...
No, Dave Ramsey.
Excuse me. He's like the modern Dave Ramsey. I think it's great. The difference between him is he sits and he like roasts these people to their face, which is hilarious. There's been some rumors about if he pays the people, if some of this is actors or not. I don't know if they are, but the content is gold.
What costs $10,000?
My music.
Your
live.
music?
Yeah, I have a single. The album cost $10,000. Yeah.
Shouldn't we get out of debt before we do that?
The car, that's $17,000.
How does $17,000 sound crazy when you were just mentioning spending $10,000 on something that's not going to probably pay you money statistically?
Pause it. Now, did she say single or album? Because $10,000 on a single to do one song, a single is one song, is an outlandish amount of money.
Yeah. I think she said album.
Okay, why are you doing an album without an audience?
Yeah, exactly.
No one's going to consume your album. Even $10,000 on an album is not bad if you have an audience.
Yeah. But you can make an album for way less, right?
You could produce it all, record it all, and mix it all for sure. You could do that for free. But even if you're spending $500 a beat, $500 a mix, at 10 songs, that's $10,000. It's not a crazy amount on an album. On a single, that's a crazy amount that she's spending on. And to his point, it's not going to generate money for her unless she already has an audience.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know about music?
I studied music in college. I'm okay with you taking...
That man flexed on her.
She thought she was going to get out of that one. Yeah, she's like...
She thought she got
How do you know about music, YouTuber?
He's like a media arts guy, media arts music guy. I remember.
He literally studied music production.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Wow.
Massive risk. If we have a 6-month emergency fund, we're keeping up with the retirement. How much do you have in retirement?
Nothing.
That's your child. Straight up, you're throwing $10,000 at something that statistically is most likely not going to be successful. Not saying it's not going to be, not saying I don't want it to be.
I'm manifesting that it's going to be successful.
Well, that's not how life works.
You are manifesting every single day of your life, whether you like it or not.
I show up and I get
know
done.
how many thoughts we have a day? Over 60,000 thoughts a day.
Wonderful!
And most of them are recycled.
Well, that's great. Congratulations to the recycled thoughts, but what actually gets done?
Oh my gosh.
She drank the Kool-Aid.
She drank the Kool-Aid, hook, line, and sinker. Okay, so a couple things. Just because something statistically won't work out, that doesn't mean you necessarily shouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
It means you should do it in a responsible fashion.
That's
just because it is unlikely for you to be a professional bowler doesn't mean you can't go bowling.
Yep.
It just means that you can't spend your rent money on bowling. You can't spend your grocery money on bowling.
Don't get a small business loan.
Don't get a small business on bowling, right? And so some of you guys are great bowlers, and you may want to take the plunge to potentially make bowling a career. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
If you can do it responsibly. And here's the beautiful part about when you do something responsibly, when you still make sure you're paying your bills, when you still make sure that you have an emergency fund, when you still make sure you're getting out of debt, when you're still making sure. If someone has all that in place and then says, I'm going to go be a professional bowler, I bet you their odds of making it as a professional bowler are substantially higher because they got the rest of their life in order. The issue is people will be irresponsible and think that like the dreaming, manifesting, I'm just going to jump on faith alone to go do this thing is the fuel that makes someone successful. And it's the very opposite of that. It's the 0.001% of people who are like, I was J. Cole and I was homeless in New York and then I gave Jay-Z my demo and he didn't listen to it. And then I hustled in New York City and then I finally made it. Like, it's like, that's 0.0001% of the story of people who are irresponsible. And then the pathway to making it is them being irresponsible, dropping out of college, dropping out of high school, being poor on purpose, right? The people who actually have a shot at making it are the people that do it from a place of restraint, discipline, consistency with a plan and hold down their basic necessities. And so when you approach life that way, it's not a guarantee you'll be successful. But boy, are you tipping the scales in your favor. And then you just start thinking about stuff differently. You're just like, well, I could do this, this, and this, and I'll be more likely to get out of debt, stay out of debt, save up for the emergency fund, save up for my retirement, or I can go spend $10,000 on a song or an album or whatever it is she did. And Again, if you're a professional musician, $10,000 on an album is nothing.
Yeah.
$10,000 on a song when you're a professional musician and you're actually generating that is not much. It's the lack of having a career path and then spending that sort of money. You're spending money on a hobby. That's what you're doing. So would you spend $10,000 on a bowling league? Would you spend $10,000 on a softball league? Would you spend right? You wouldn't. So why go spend that kind of money on a song, an album, or a YouTube page? Start small. Do the very most with what little you have. He who is faithful with little will be faithful with more. How can somebody give you true riches if you can't handle material riches? How can somebody give you property of your own if you can't handle someone else's property? This is Luke 16. This is the words of Jesus. I'm not even talking Proverbs. This is the words of Jesus. So if you can't be faithful in the little things, what makes you think you're going to be faithful in big things? You can't even handle the basics. Right? Paul writes that he who does not provide for the needs of his family, specifically his immediate family, is worse than a non-believer and is denied the faith. That's what Paul said. That's not Ruslan. I'm sorry if you feel convicted right now and angry. That's what Paul said. So if you can't do the bare bones of stuff and then you are just going to swing for the fences, hoping that you knock it out of the park, or hoping that when you're down and on the other side of the field, you're going to throw a Hail Mary and maybe get an impossible. Like, that's not how these things work. The opposite is way more of a linear path, way more likely to not just get you to the destination you want to get to, but actually have the character and the discipline to carry you past the destination. Everybody wants to get to the destination. Okay, but what happens when you do get that song to pop? What happens when that song gets 2 million? Do you got another song in the can? Do you got a whole album in the can? Do you have a whole strat? No, you don't. You just got one. You betted it all on one, and that's not even what you want. You don't want one to go. You want 100 to go. You want 50 to go. And this stuff happens on YouTube. This stuff happens with people trying drop shipping businesses, just throwing everything they can, putting all their peas in one pot, and then are disappointed when life kicks them in the butt.
Yeah. If it feels like gambling,
oh yeah,
it is gambling. You know,
yep.
If it feels calculated, it probably is calculated.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about calculated is that it's so much more responsible, and responsible is boring.
And responsible is boring. Yeah. But boring is the things to get the breakthrough in any area of your life is through the door of boring suffering.
Yeah. That's a part.
Anything you want is on the other side of you being bored and suffering.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make more money. You want to give more to your church. You want to get in better shape. You want to have a better marriage. You want to have, it's going to be on the other side of you being bored, not as entertained. The average American consumes 8 hours of media a day.
Darkness.
8 hours. It's going to be on the other side of you being bored and the other side of you suffering. The more you can be bored and suffer, the more likely. Now, I'm not saying guaranteed. I'm not making you any promises. Principles, not promises. The more likely you're going to be to actually do it. But the issue is we don't want to be bored. We don't want to be bored. We want to do fancy stuff. We want to do cool stuff. We want to feel like we're important. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Comment down below and let me know what you think. And be sure to check out this video that YouTube is recommending just for you. Let me know if they nailed it. All right? I'll see you over there. Peace.